In 2017, Marvel released a superhero show so bad it became shorthand for failure. Critics called it the worst thing the studio had ever produced. The actor carrying it became the face of that failure. And he has been answering for it ever since. His name is Finn Jones. And before you decide whether he deserved everything that happened to him, there is one number you need to hear. Critics gave Iron Fist a score of 20%. The actual audience gave it 83. Two completely different verdicts on the exact same show. That gap is not a coincidence. It is a confession, and it will tell you exactly who the real problem was. But to understand how the whole thing collapsed, you need to go back to how it was built. Finn Jones is a British theater actor who spent years doing the work most people never see. Stage productions, small TV parts, the long, unremarkable grind that either builds something in you or breaks it entirely. That changed in 2011. Game of Thrones was becoming a phenomenon, and Jones was cast as Loras Tyrell, a Knight of the Reach. Charming, dangerous, layered. Not the lead of the show, but impossible to ignore when he was on screen. 6 seasons, tens of millions of viewers, and suddenly an entire industry knew his name. That kind of visibility is currency in Hollywood. Marvel was ready to spend it. When the studio went looking for the final piece of their Netflix Defenders lineup, they came to Jones. Danny Rand, the Iron Fist. A billionaire who survives a plane crash as a child, spends 15 years training in a mystical city in the Himalayas, and returns to New York as the greatest living martial artist in the world. The character who would complete the team that included Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage. It was the kind of role that could define a career. Jones said yes immediately. What he did not yet know was that this particular role came preloaded with problems. Problems that had nothing to do with him, and everything to do with decisions that had already been made before he ever read the script. Because the moment the casting was announced, the internet went to work. Before a single episode had aired, Iron Fist had a target on it. The character of Danny Rand is a white American who travels to a mystical city in the Himalayas, masters its ancient martial arts tradition, and returns as its chosen champion. The discussion was immediate. Marvel had a clear opportunity to reimagine the casting and address a white savior dynamic that had been baked into the source material since the 1970s. They declined. They cast Jones and publicly called him the perfect choice. Jones responded to the backlash. This is where the first real mistake happened. Rather than listening carefully or staying quiet, he went to the press and told fans to stop starting a mob over a show they had not even seen. He said the outrage was disproportionate. He suggested people should direct their anger at real problems instead. Then, after the show launched to brutal reviews, he went further. He pointed to the political climate surrounding Donald Trump as a reason people were reviewing television harshly. He said the anger in the culture was bleeding into everything. The internet filed both of those statements away, and when the show confirmed that the criticism was justified, Jones had no goodwill left to fall back on. He had spent it before the premiere. But here is the part of the story that most people never got, because the show had problems that started long before Jones walked onto set. Scott Buck was hired to run Iron Fist. That name matters. Buck was the showrunner responsible for the final seasons of Dexter, which is widely studied as the most catastrophic decline of a prestige drama in television history. Marvel then hired him to run Inhumans, which launched the same year as Iron Fist and scored 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not a rough start. 12%. That is not bad luck. That is a track record, and Marvel handed him their 4th Defenders solo series. The production schedule was brutal. Iron Fist had to wrap filming fast because the Defenders team-up was starting immediately after. Jones was working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. He later told the press the schedule was so compressed that he was learning the choreography for fight scenes 15 minutes before the camera rolled. Not 15 minutes of warm-up, 15 minutes to learn the full sequence and then perform it on camera. For a show whose entire identity rested on its hero being the greatest martial artist alive. Now here is where it gets complicated. The stunt coordinator on Iron Fist later gave an interview in which he strongly implied, without naming Jones directly, that a lead actor on the show had simply not wanted to train. He pointed to Jessica Henwick as the contrast. Henwick played Colleen Wing. She found 4 hours a day to train on the exact same punishing schedule. Her fight sequences were the best in the entire series. The gap between what she delivered and what Jones delivered was visible to everyone who watched. So which version is true? The honest answer is probably both. The schedule was genuinely mismanaged, and the production was underprepared. There is also credible evidence that Jones could have pushed harder than he did. But here is the question the internet never stopped to ask. Why did Marvel hire the showrunner of Inhumans to run a martial arts show, and then give him less time than any of the other Defenders productions received? That decision was made before Finn Jones ever got to set. Nobody has ever answered for it. When the show finally dropped, the response was swift and it was total. Iron Fist Season 1 landed at 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. For context, the first seasons of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage all scored above 90%. The second season of Daredevil, which fans considered a step down, still scored 76. Iron Fist did not just fall short of that standard, it went through the floor. Critics called Danny Rand a spoiled college hippie. They said the fight sequences were an embarrassment for a show built on the premise that its hero was a living weapon. They said the pacing was broken, the villain was forgettable, and the whole production felt like it had been rushed through in a single afternoon. Here is the number the critics did not mention. 83% of the audience rated it positively. Parrot Analytics tracked over 63 million demand expressions for Iron Fist at its peak, second only to Luke Cage across all the Marvel Netflix shows. On its premiere day, the series accounted for nearly 15% of all Netflix streams on the entire platform. The highest percentage ever recorded for any series premiere the company had measured at that point. The show the critics declared unwatchable was being watched by an enormous number of people, and most of them liked it. None of that changed the narrative. The critical consensus had settled. Iron Fist was the punchline, and Finn Jones was the face of the joke. But then something happened in Season 2 that almost nobody gave him credit for. Scott Buck was out. Marvel brought in Raven Metzner as the new showrunner for Season 2. The writing tightened. The pacing improved. The fight sequences were genuinely different. Jones had clearly trained harder. The whole show operated at a different level. Rotten Tomatoes recorded Iron Fist Season 2 as having the single biggest improvement in quality between a first and second season of any series they had ever measured. That record stands. A show that launched at 20% came back and made Rotten Tomatoes write that sentence. It did not matter. The cancellation came in 2019, along with the entire Netflix Marvel universe. Disney Plus was launching. The deal ended. Every show went down at once. But the reactions told the real story. When Daredevil was canceled, fans organized. When The Punisher was canceled, people were furious. When Iron Fist was canceled, the response was mostly silence. A few defenders in the comment sections. Not much else. The first season had already written the ending. Jones did not go quiet. He should probably have gone quiet. He kept giving interviews. He kept publicly asking for a second chance. He kept showing up in conversations about the MCU's future with his hand raised. Some people read that as genuine belief in what he could do with the character. A lot of people read it as someone who could not accept the verdict. But now, in 2026, the situation looks different from every direction. Every other original Defender has come back. Charlie Cox is the lead of Daredevil, born again on Disney Plus, and the show has been renewed multiple times. Kristen Ritter confirmed her return as Jessica Jones. John Bernthal not only came back as the Punisher, but co-wrote his own solo special. Mike Coulter has publicly expressed strong interest in returning as Luke Cage. The street-level Marvel universe is being rebuilt brick by brick. Finn Jones is the only one still waiting. In March 2025, he gave interviews saying he wanted a second chance and believed he could deliver something completely different with proper support and preparation. In April 2025, born-again showrunner Dario Scardapani said in a separate interview that Iron Fist is always on his mind. That is careful language from a working showrunner. It is also not a denial. Then in late 2025, Jones posted a photo on Instagram outside a Taekwondo dojo. For most people, that is just a Sunday. For a Marvel actor whose character's return has been discussed online for years, it read like a signal. Production on Born Again Guaigonwan 3 is expected to begin in early 2026. The door is not closed. What is interesting is that Jones never stopped fighting for it. Not loudly, not always well, but consistently. That either reads as someone who genuinely knows the first season did not show what he was capable of, or as someone who has not accepted what the internet decided. Possibly it is both. But the situation in 2026 is meaningfully different from 2019. Marvel is rebuilding a universe, and there is one seat at the table that has not been filled. Which brings us to the question the whole video has been building toward. The case against Finn Jones is real. His responses to criticism were clumsy and cost him the goodwill he needed. His co-star proved on the same schedule that preparation was possible. Season 1 showed a lead actor who had not done the physical work the role required. Some of that is on him. The case for Finn Jones is also real. He was handed a showrunner with a documented record of failure. He was given a production schedule tighter than any of the other defenders received. He improved so dramatically when those conditions changed that Rotten Tomatoes had to create a new category to describe it. And the audience, not the critics, gave the original show 83%. The worst Marvel show ever made. But here is what is interesting about that verdict. The showrunner, who ran 2 Marvel productions into the ground, moved on to other projects. The studio that hired him and compressed the schedule never addressed either decision publicly. The actor who was learning fight choreography in the parking lot 15 minutes before filming is still the one the internet holds responsible. That is the case file. The verdict is yours. Was Finn Jones the problem, or was he the symptom of a production that was broken before it started? And if Marvel brings him back in Born Again, do you give him the second chance he has been asking for since 2019? Drop your answer below. And if you have a name, someone whose story belongs on this channel, leave it in the comments. Every week, one name becomes the next video.